And with the US-Israel operation, clearly the intelligence has been, well, it's been very sharp and accurate. You saw that from the get-go, didn't you, with the Supreme Leader taken out with about 50 others of the top leadership in Iran. So their intelligence is bang on, and therefore you would assume that the next Supreme Leader, the son of Khomeini, might have a difficult period ahead, given just how good that intelligence is out of Iran.
Yeah, that intelligence is exquisite, and it doesn't get any better than having your first strike against key leadership. And then when we talk about joint campaigns or air campaigns, you typically will have leadership positions at the top of the strike list. They're the highest priority targets in the battle space. If we go back to Iraqi freedom, people probably forget, but the US tried to take out Saddam Hussein with some F-117s on night one. They had some intelligence that he was in a palace, and they struck that palace, but unfortunately he wasn't there. But in this case, the Israeli intelligence has been spot on. They were obviously able to start the campaign at the top of the target list against the Ayatollah and 40 of the leadership targets. And of course, any new supreme leader, and more importantly, the mechanisms of the Iranian Republic, the leadership of the Iranian public, will be on that target list, and a targeting cycle will start against them as soon as they're nominated.
And finally, you've been positive about their campaign thus far. Do you think that 4 to 5 week timeline can be achieved by the President and the United States?
Yeah, I've been looking at the mathematics here, Kieran, and I'm sort of one of those sort of practical mathematical thinkers. I think there's around about 10, 12,000 targets on the target list that fall under the target objectives, the destruction of those capabilities I spoke about earlier, and plus all the other elements of the Iraqi regime's power. And at the rate that they're actually moving down the target list now, it looks like they're probably ahead of schedule, I would think. It's probably 4, 5, 6 weeks that they'll have most of those targets destroyed. They'll then have persistence in the battle space. And I suppose they're really waiting to see what happens on the ground, with potentially uprising of the Iranian people. But of course, at the same time, they've got the problem where that regime will still have power, you still have the guns, so to speak, and it will cause problems. So there is a sequel to this. I wouldn't say anyone really knows what that looks like yet. But in military terms, I'd remind people that we achieved the objectives in Gulf War I very quickly back in the 90s there. We ended up in Operation Southern and Northern Watch, where maintained air power over the battle space there to control the regime and stop it persecuting minority groups. And there's something like that's probably going to happen at the end of this 4 to 5 weeks.
Terry Van Haren, DSM, Air Commodore retired. Thank you for your time, for your insights. We look forward to, we'll stay in touch over the next few weeks as we watch Operation Epic Fury unfold.
Thank you, Kieran.